What's up guys, Gamer475 with yet another video. Today I'm continuing the long series that has become now of ranking every generation of Total Drama contestants. And for this video we will be ranking the contestants from Total Drama Pahkitew Island. Before we begin, be sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss another video. Please make sure to share it with your friends too. It gets out the word, helps the channel grow a lot more. These are small actions, but they make a big difference. Now, starting off this list, at the very bottom is Sugar. Sugar is mainly here for the reason that her character was super annoying to me, and I felt she only survived because of plot armor. I feel without that plot armor, she would have been out a lot earlier, which is what I was hoping for the entire time I saw her. She just seemed like such a kind of stuck-up person who thinks that she should be winning this show just because she's so much better than everyone else. She began a gigantic rivalry with Ella, mainly because of some things she would say or the way she'd act, seeming a lot nicer than Sugar definitely was, to the point where Sean and Dave even had to stop her from possibly killing Ella at one point. She takes great pleasure and laughs when it comes to Ella being hurt. She's even the main reason Ella got eliminated by tricking her into singing just so she could rat her out to Chris and get her kicked off the show. And then I'm not even going to begin to mention Sugar Silo, because that was an abomination to look at. Your mind never goes back once you've seen this scene before. All in all, Sugar was a terrible character to have around. I wanted her out so much earlier, and I'm surprised she made it as far as she did with her level of intelligence. But this is where she ranks on the list. After Sugar is Topher. Topher's another character who just seemed very annoying to me. He started off seeming like such a good character, just seeming like he wants to grow up and get older and then become like Chris, hosting his own show. However, he does start to fanboy a whole lot, and then starts to maybe even like insult Chris during challenges, saying that he looks stressed or he looks tired or he looks like he's too old to be hosting anymore, and he tried to take Chris's job. So honestly, seeing him get hit with stuff or get injured just kind of made it a whole lot more relieving, because you see it and you just wish something would hit him to shut him up. And then he even like takes Chris's phone from him to try and call the producers, which just again made seeing him get hurt even better. I think his only advantage is that he can be used as a battering ram, and his head is apparently strong enough to break through the ground, which, I mean, could come in handy a few times if they need him for it, but other than that, Topher seems like kind of a useless guy. So seeing him get dropped from the show was honestly a relief to me. After Topher is Rodney. Rodney was a difficult one to place because I really liked his character, but I didn't get to see a lot of him. He was around for a small amount of time and then got kicked. I'd put him this low, however, mainly because of the girl problems he's been having during the show. It caused him to lose his team's the challenge, putting them into a tiebreaker, and even at that, in the tie, his fingers are just too big to open up the bag. Rodney does have a lot of problems, but I know deep down he's just a good guy. However, basing off the show, this is as far as he can go on the list. Next is Dave. Where do I even start with him? He started off seeming like a very sarcastic character, where when I first hear him, the first thing I think is, great, Noah 2.0. That's basically all he is. Although, Noah's still way better than this guy, that's for certain. Dave is sarcastic, he's a major germaphobe. He's so far, though, the only intelligent one on his team for the first few episodes, knowing that building a wizard's tower was a stupid idea and that they shouldn't have done it. He proceeds to continue with sarcasm, stating that this Wizard's Tower is such a good idea. He does get a good comedic moment. He gets a good chuckle out of me at his first elimination ceremony when he asks the question, "Can I vote for 4 people to go home?" Which is definitely what I think everyone would have been thinking at this point. He proceeds to freak out anytime the smallest kind of germ hits him, instead of just calming down and cleaning himself off. He rages at Leonard super quick when Leonard tries to use quote-unquote magic to win the challenge for his team, which gives Dave a bit of a knockdown on the list, which goes to show that he's a little short-tempered. And then in the further episodes, he just becomes even more and more annoying to deal with. He just seems so much worse as he goes along. He even begins to get into a thing with Sky, which just gives him the new title of Simp, as I'll use at least. He even proceeded to vote himself off of the show, just in hopes that Sky would go out with him because of this. Meaning Dave is definitely desperate. And then even in the finale, he doesn't even know what to do with this money. He only wants to get the money, not to use it for something that could benefit him in the future, but so he can set it all on fire. As if that was a good reason to even show up to this show in the first place if you didn't know what to do with the money. He got abandoned on the island at the end to be attacked by a robo-bear. We don't even know if this guy's still alive. But Dave places here, towards the bottom of this list. Next is Beardo. Honestly, some people might disagree with me on this one. They might disagree with me putting him a lot higher than people who have managed to outlast him. But Beardo, I felt, had some good potential. I wanted to see him for maybe a second episode as well, because it's not entirely his fault that he was as annoying as he was to his team. In his audition tape, he states that he's a shy person who just kind of makes noises until he warms up to people. So I feel if he survived that elimination and made it into the second episode, he would have maybe become a better asset to the team, starting to talk to people more, helping the team out. And he would definitely have been a lot more useful than Leonard was to the team. His noises, however, I give him credit for making these noises because it takes a lot of skill to be able to do the stuff that he does. And with the amount of timing and everything, it's just a perfect kind of comedic routine that he has. Like when he's running in slow motion, literally speaking. And then he starts making construction sounds, which even confuses the other team, which is another reason why Beardo would be great to keep. He can maybe distract the other team using his noises. He does get on people's nerves, however, when he does these things, causing him to be the first person voted off of the show. But I feel if Beardo made it further, then he'd definitely have a higher spot on this list. However, since he was only in the one episode, he has to end towards the bottom of things, or more so the middle. After Beardo is Amy. Amy was not a fun character to deal with, really. She was cold, she was rude, she was just mean to anybody and everybody, especially her own sister. She didn't even care if she killed her, being willing to just let her fall and die. She uses her as a human shield to protect her from getting hurt, and then even yelling at her sister when she starts to feel pain and react to it, telling her to stop whining. She costs her team the challenge and decides to try and put the blame on Sammy instead, only to have Sammy pull a switcheroo on her, and then in later episodes she returns and just fights with her sister even more, to the point where they both get eliminated from the show, which I feel is a bad end to Sammy. Which is why I put Amy so low here on the list. Next is both Scarlett and Max. These two I put in the same spot mostly because, well, they didn't really have their own individual moments to shine. Scarlet does display great levels of intelligence throughout the show, showing that she's a great asset to the team to keep, whereas all Max has ever shown is that he sucks at being an evil genius, basically. Scarlet over time grows kind of frustrated with Max because he's just so annoying to deal with, even trying to get him eliminated from the show. She finds a way to manipulate him throughout the season, causing him to kind of become a minion to her. She comes up with the idea of shocking the enemy team. And then in their episode where they both get eliminated, Scarlet shows her true colors, being the evil genius that she is. However, since Scarlet was only this evil in one episode, I feel it's just not as impactful as it should have been. So seeing both of them get eliminated, even though it's kind of an unfair end to Max, since he didn't really get voted off, I feel they deserve this spot. Next is Leonard. I'll be honest, I don't even know why I put him this high on the list. I feel he's only this high because every other character so far has something that makes them a bit of an annoyance. Leonard, on the other hand, his annoying parts are what made him so perfect to me, because he was hilarious to deal with. I still feel as if he should have been eliminated instead of Beardo, but Leonard is just known for always trying to use magic. For example, plummeting to his death and doesn't get a parachute to work. He'll just use a spell, see if that works for him. It'll save his life. Getting shot at by Chef with a tennis ball gun? Well, let's try and use magic and see if that works. And then it doesn't help that he just has some dumb luck. For example, when he uses a force field to protect himself from the falling wizard's tower, and it just somehow works for him. This doesn't help whatsoever, because this just makes him believe even more his powers are real. He even continues to use magic in the next episode, trying to use it to get the pig to fly over the wall to finish the challenge for his team, because he clearly didn't learn his lesson from using magic in the first episode, which is why he shouldn't have even been there. His elimination, though, was a satisfying one to watch, because you see it coming, but then they just add on to it, having Leonard try and use magic to reverse time from his elimination, or to try and attack Chris with something, only to end up in the cannon and just accept his fate. Then there's Sammy, or Sammy. She's at number 5, however, there's not much to say about her. She gets bullied by her sister. She stands up to her sister, backstabs her, getting her kicked off the show. Her sister comes back, they fight a whole lot, it annoys everyone else, they both get voted off. There wasn't much else to say about this. However, she ranks this high mainly because she's a good person, willing to do things to help her team. Whereas the other people here mostly looked out for themselves only. In the 4th spot is Sky. Sky displays great athletic skills, being able to dodge all of Chef's shots in the first episode and launch one back at him even. She has a strange thing going with Dave throughout the season, which was a bit of a kind of thing that took her down on the list to 4th. She would have been higher if this didn't exist, I feel, because it did make her a bit weaker. It made her focus on the game a bit less. She did make it to the finale, however, where she went up against Sean in the end, and she does show that she has a bit of a anger problem with her, because when they realize that Dave and Jasmine are about to win and gain the money for themselves, Sky proceeds to destroy the mountain they're standing on, which could possibly have killed them both. Somehow it didn't. She does, however, just kind of accept that she lost afterwards. Next is Sean and Jasmine. This is a lot like Max and Scarlet. I didn't really see any moments where they got to shine on their own. Aside from Sean and all his zombie talk or Jasmine with her team finding food, they didn't do much on their own. But since the very beginning, they had a friendly little relationship between each other. They were nice to one another. They looked after each other. And over time, things became worse for Sean, who began to get a whole lot of paranoia hitting him throughout these kinds of things, which eventually caused him to be tricked by Dave into thinking Jasmine was a zombie, causing him to hit her in the face during a challenge, causing probably some pain, obviously. This causes Jasmine to become extremely furious with him for the next few episodes until he can finally redeem himself by showing that he does care about her. In the end, Jasmine got eliminated very quickly, and Sean didn't get his end either. In the top spot is Ella. Ella is here for the main reason that she is as pure as Total Drama contestants will get. I've seen no negative things that Ella has been willing to do. Since the very beginning, she stated she loved World Tour, which I would love to have seen her on Total Drama World Tour. I feel that would be the perfect season for her. She could have won that. She has a great bond with animals, kind of like Dawn and DJ did. Minus DJ's curse, though. She is always willing to help her team out, always having a positive attitude no matter what happens. She's willing to do whatever it takes to help her team win, including singing to help control the animals during challenges to help them get farther. There was the problem that took place with Dave, which kind of just made me hate Dave even more, because seeing her so upset to me was just soul-crushing, because she was always so happy. However, she was willing to risk her own chance in the game just to help Dave get away from a bear. Meaning that she is not a selfish person. She's willing to risk her own chances at a whole lot of money just to help someone else. She did meet a terrible end on the show, being ratted out by Sugar. I would have loved to see her make it to the end even of this season. I feel if this didn't happen, she could have made it to the end of the show just because she's such a likable character. That's all for this ranking video. In the next one, we will be ranking the characters from Redonkulous Race. Per usual, I'm Gamer475, and I'll see you guys in the next video.